My name is Joe Neubauer. I'm from Philadelphia, and I'm a longtime friend of INSS. So it's a real honor for me and my wife Jeanette to be part of this stimulating program among such a distinguished group of panelists. I've seen many of them before. Many of them I've heard for the first time, but it's really very exciting, very interesting to listen to the penetrating analysis that is provided by INSS. INSS is synonymous with original research, the emphasis penetrating analysis and actionable, if not always popular, decisions. Its emphasis on quality and integrity are what attracted us to really support it for a long time. To us, facts matter. And facts drive, in our opinion, the best decisions. And INSS, especially under the leadership of our friend Amos Yadlin, has become a crucial resource for anybody who's concerned with Israel's key strategic issues. Today we're here to talk about American Jewry, how Jews see themselves, their communities, and their connections and relationships to Israel. For generations, communities across the United States have funded programs that are meant to reinforce our Jewish identity. But in all those years, there's been little attempt to evaluate those programs, to evaluate if they worked and why they worked. People always have opinions. As you know, among Jews, they're often very strong and very loud opinions. But opinions based upon anecdotes are not measurable data. Programs have been perpetuated because of tradition, or because of Jewish politics, or because of lobbying. And to the best of our knowledge, very few programs have been stopped or ceased to exist. Many new programs proliferated, and they all demanded additional financial support and philanthropy. Meanwhile, synagogue membership has declined. Philanthropy to traditional Jewish institutions shrank, and for us, this was not a good omen going forward. All of you around here are very experienced leaders, and you know that it's much easier to initiate change when those affected share the same perceptions about threats and opportunities. And we decided to fund the Pew study of the portraits of American Jews because we want to establish a benchmark, a baseline of facts where we are today in order to facilitate productive discussions about where we need to go tomorrow. Some of you may know that the Pew Research Center is known for rigorous, data-driven, nonpartisan research. In our opinion, it is the gold standard among international opinion research institutes. Interestingly enough, for the past 12 years, its Religion and Public Life Project has conducted polls exploring the religious identities of Americans of all denominations, including all of the Christian denominations, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, even Mormons. The only religious group in the United States that had not been studied for over 15 years is the Jewish community. Now, you know that studying the Jewish community is fraught with challenges. The last major study that was done in the year 2000 was criticized by many Jews about its many methodological deficiencies. The Pew team was determined to create a research plan that would allow them to capture in a scientifically valid way the wide swath of Jewish experiences. They created an advisory group composed of leading international Jewish sociologists, demographers, and historians to shape the questionnaire and eliminate any biases. As you'll hear in a couple of minutes, it took more than initially 70,000 phone calls to identify an inclusive research group. The results, while some observers of them are not happy with the findings, no one has challenged the methodology to date, and we don't think that anybody will going forward. The study was released in October of 2013, and the reaction was immediate and intense. And this intensity has been sustained for several months afterwards. As it turns out, facts matter to the public as much as they do to the researchers. The Pew study generated hundreds of stories in mainstream and religious media outlets in the United States and abroad. It was voted among the top 10 religious news stories by a couple of religious magazines. Everybody started with the Pope last year, but the Pew study was among the top 10 in almost all the religious news polls. Online attention has been very, very robust. In the first 2 months, Pew received over 170,000 visits to its website looking for the report. In the first month, it triggered web traffic more than Pew Research has seen on any of its religious studies that it's ever done. Last night, you heard from Frank Friedman that he looks at the email hits that his stories get. Well, this particular research study, when it was published by the New York Times, the first and the second day was the #1 story that got the most emails, and it stayed on the top 20 list for over a week. The research has inspired widespread response in the social media with hundreds of posts on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other sites. It is euphemistically called the Pew Jewry Report. And the Pew staff have been invited to dozens of presentations in various groups. This is the first time, Alan, my recollection, that it's been done overseas, mostly in the United States. And Alan Cooper, I'll introduce him in a minute, has been running around the country giving the presentations over and over and over again. It was our hope that the data would capture the attention of the Jewish organizations and enable them to determine how they are achieving the stated goals. The Pew study does not prescribe any solution. Pew has never prescribed solution. It strictly and accurately describes the facts as they exist on the ground at the moment. It's up to Jewish institutions and their leaders to figure out the best way to address their future decisions and allocate the resources, both in terms of time and money. And that's precisely, we're happy to say, what's happening. The findings have inspired hundreds of conversations among Jewish communities, in synagogues, in federations, around dinner tables, in Jewish cultural organizations, in the United States and around the world, including this country. It was discussed extensively in the General Assembly of the Jewish Federations of North America, recently held in Jerusalem. Even the Prime Minister included in his comments when he noted that assimilation and intermarriage are challenges of the global Jewish community. And as you know, the Israeli government is considering new policies of expanded funding to inspire stronger Jewish identity in the diaspora. But there's clearly much more work to be done. When the majority of the world's population residing either in Israel or the United States, roughly 80–85% of the Jews around the world are in these two countries, we've only have half the picture. The Pew is about to embark on a similar study in Israel, which we hope will be completed in the fall. This study, for which Pew has assembled another stellar Israeli and international advisory group, will measure the religious behavior, the Jewish identity, the attitudes toward the United States and Israeli relationship, and the prospect for Middle East peace as envisioned by Israeli citizens. Today's world is radically different than the days of Israel's founding, and even very radically different than 10 or 15 years ago. Old attitudes about the United States and its relationship to Israel can no longer be taken for granted. Attitudes about who is a Jew, what is a Jew, and how best to grow a healthy Jewish population worldwide also cannot be presumed. The challenges facing Jews in Israel, in the United States, and the diaspora are existential, as they have been over many millennia. And given the threats, we cannot afford to delude ourselves by what they have been. And just as with the Jewish American study, we hope that the Pew study in Israel will generate findings that inform productive dialogue, healthy debate, and effective decision-making among the leadership in this country.